Verse of the day, John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Clean Reads podcast. I'm your host, Izzy, and today's book that we are going to be reviewing today is called The Green Ember by S.D. Smith. If you are someone who loves shopping at bookstores, you probably have heard of this series called The Green Ember. Basically, in short, The Green Ember is about these two rabbits. Well, all of these creatures there's rabbits, there's wolves, and there's hawks. I don't think there's any other animals in there. I've yet to find out since this is the first book. But it follows mainly two young rabbits named Pickett and Heather. Now, Pickett and Heather live with their mom and dad in a secluded valley away from the main city. They just live somewhere secluded. Nobody's really there. There's a few other rabbits, but it's basically, if you think of it as vacant farmland, where there's acres and acres, and then there's one house. There's many acres, and then you see another. It's more like that kind of community. And with these two rabbits, they live at home with their mom, their dad, and their little brother. One day, they were out gathering berries after a mysterious visitor shows up at their house to talk the mom and dad ask them to go pick berries. So while they're picking berries, they hear a scream. And they see that it is their friend at the house next door. And it's their family. And their hollow, which is what it's called, it's basically like a tree with tunnels and everything. That's like their house. And then they run away. They run and run and run until they hit the edge of the forest, but they're not supposed to go past this one tree. They end up hiding behind it, and they look at their house, which has a bird's eye view, and they see their house on fire. They can't see their mom or their dad. They can't see the mysterious visitor or their little brother. And all they see are wolves surrounding the tree. And they start running away. And it's this huge adventure following these two siblings trying to make it into a world that they've never been in before. And it is very interesting. I really liked this book. Although, at one point, it got a little bit slow, but really not majorly, and you'll see what I'm talking about. They try to get along with other rabbits that they eventually find. They're basically frowned upon for some reason, and they try to redeem themselves. They meet other bunnies their age, or rabbits their age, and they start to form relationships. And I loved how family-based and loving it was. In a lot of books, especially with middle grade and young adult, usually it's there's one parent that's not alive anymore, or they're having problems with both parents. And it's good to have it to where the child can relate to that scenario. But when it's almost every single book where either one or both of the parents are dead, I just get tired of it. And so this was really nice because they showed how much they loved their mother. They loved their father. They had no problems with them. And then they were just stripped away. And I just really would love to see that more often in a book, really, just because it's as prevalent as there's one mom or one dad, or they're just living with their grandparents, or there's some sort of conflict with them. Even though conflict is good for story building and everything, but when it's I hate my mom, I hate my dad, I don't like that. It's just not my cup of tea. Now, for the language that's within this story, the language that they say, I don't think they said a single word. They did not say anything in here that was bad. They didn't have any cussing or anything, which, hey, I don't even think they said stupid or dumb or anything like that. And that was honestly for me refreshing because it felt very innocent. And I would love to I would love to read books that are more innocent. Because you don't want to read a book that's okay, they're trying to kill each other all the time. But I thought it was really well written. And one thing that I thought was an interesting fact, is that I found out through my mom that the author, S.D. Smith, actually is a Christian dad. That's awesome. He's a Christian dad who loves his kids, and everything like that. There was no spice in this book, which also I really liked as well. The violence, okay, this may like prevent some people from wanting to read it. It's not like the violence was like super heavy or anything, but there was killing, and obviously the wolves and the birds that are against the rabbit species, when they like capture someone and they don't agree, they kill them and then eat them. And there is also mentions of blood, obviously, because of injuries. There's also some injuries that do take place within that book, obviously, because there are battle scenes, which I think this is a great book for both boys and girls. I personally enjoyed it, and I would honestly recommend it for an audience that would be able to take some of the violence that's like rabbits dying, wolves dying, wolves, it's just mentioned, it's not described, where the wolves are eating the rabbits as well. There's also mentions of betrayal of I want to say family, but also it's not exactly. One of the main characters has a broken foot, but there's also mention of also broken legs and broken arms after battle, obviously. And it is pretty honestly like well paced throughout the book, which I was very happy with. Just because, I don't know, if you can hear the crow in the background, I named that one Yaya because that bird yaps all the time. One of the reasons why I'm hesitant when reading a Christian fiction book, either whether it be romance, middle grade, or whatever it is, I always have a skepticism that it will be cheesy, it will be bland, or it will repeat other book ideas, like a certain trope, or enemies to lovers, or rivals to lovers, or friends to lovers. I just think that it should be more, like, I don't know, mellowed out to where it's, like, unique. Although everybody referenced books to Hunger Games, can we get off of the Hunger Games? Like, that being the guidelines, or Harry Potter. I'm not saying anything's bad with those books, although I don't personally recommend them. I've looked them up myself, and I know they have a huge fan base. However, there are some things in there I just wouldn't agree with reading. And the reason why with Harry Potter is because of the witches. Personally, like in wizards, although I don't know why I think wizards are better than witches, but they're the same thing. And if the witches are the bad guys, or if the wizards are the bad guys, I would rather take wizards being the good guys. But if witches are the bad guys, then I will totally read the book. I don't mind reading it. It's totally fine with me. But if it is like the witch is a protagonist, and not an antagonist, that goes against the Bible, and I'm not really going to want to discuss it further than that, where it says, like, the Bible says not to even consult witches or things like that, and I just don't really want to read books that promote witches or wizards too much. Also, with the Hunger Games, the guy and the girl, they sleep together in a sleeping bag, and I know, literally, I looked it up on Plugged In, and I will link it also down below, because it's a great website for looking at books, especially like popular ones. Usually they'll have popular books, sometimes they won't, but they are sleeping in a sleeping bag. Just, you're not meant to be with a boy. Anyway, I'm getting off on a rant. Anyway, back to the Green Ember. I thought this was a really great book. I would probably recommend it age-wise 8+ or 9+. It depends on the child itself, but I think this is a really great book. I would have my nephew read this just because it's full of action and it's fun, and obviously animals are really fun to read about. I don't read too many books about animals anymore, but this one was a great exception, and I cannot wait to finish reading the rest of the series because I know this one has a huge series. Maybe I even will, if I do finish the entire series, I may do possibly a episode on that. Before I leave though, let me read you a quote or two from the Green Ember, which there's two that I'm going to mention that were my favorite. On page 22, I read most of this on Kindle. Also, it is free on Kindle Unlimited. not sponsored. But it is free on Kindle Unlimited if you want to try it out for free. So on page 22 in the Kindle, it said, all of life is a battle against fear. All of life is a battle against fear. We fight it on one front, and it sneaks around to our flank. So that was one. And then I guess this must have been the same exact page. I regret those moments when I said to fear, you are my master. I really hope you liked this episode of the podcast. It has been a while since I've done another book review, and I really hope that you do end up reading this, because I actually think it is a great book for pretty much any age. I would recommend my nephew reading this and my niece. Also, keep up to date with an upcoming episode of me interviewing my niece Abby and my nephew Nathan. I can't wait to have them on here, and they're going to be so excited to hear all of you and see all of you. So please click down below, like, share, subscribe, and comment down if you've read this book before. I would love to hear your thoughts on it and see if you liked it, or if you're continue to be curious, please ask me questions. Thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye!